All right. It's been a little bit. We've been traveling. All right. So
we have a live stream now, and we will probably not be back until 2 weeks from now.
Oh, well, hopefully not 2 weeks,
What?
but we still got a lot to do. Yeah. So
we have
this is
more stuff to do.
Yeah. So this is our summer our summer of fan expo. So we just returned from Boston. Boston was great. Wonderful
Tomorrow
time.
we leave for Chicago.
Yeah, and we're leaving for Chicago. Tomorrow we'll be there for the entire weekend. That's a 4-day conference, convention. So yeah, we're gonna be there.
And
yeah,
here's the good part. We get to have deep dish pizza.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Yeah,
we have some in the fridge.
Not anymore. Yeah, we have a place around here that actually serves that. It's really good. All right, so well, it's gone. It's gone. All right, why don't we introduce ourselves in case people are seeing us for the very first time? This is Father Son Galaxy. I am Kerwin.
And I'm a pizza.
All right, and this is Keith. Thank you so much for joining us. We missed you. Our panel for this past Saturday at the Boston Fan Expo will be available. When it becomes available, of course, we'll actually drop it on our YouTube channel, and we'll put it on our audio platform, so you'll get to hear and see it. But thank you so much for joining us. If you like us, if you like this video, if you're new, we would love for you to subscribe. We'll talk about our subscription. Our race to 1,000 is still ongoing, believe it or not. It's still ongoing. All right.
We're still going.
Yeah. So we've been, covering the last few episodes about Ahsoka. It's Ahsoka month. August is Ahsoka month. It's coming in less than 2 weeks, right? So we've been doing some episodes leading up, talking
exactly 2 weeks.
Yeah, right. Leading up to the premiere on the 23rd, 2-episode premiere. So what we want to do, this is we're veering off a little bit. It's still directly related to Ahsoka.
But it's not directly related to Ahsoka's show.
Well, it could
it's related to Ahsoka, but not to her show.
Well, yeah.
As far as we know at this point in time.
Yeah, we'll explain it, right? So it could be, but just listen, follow along. You'll at the end, it's all makes sense. All right. So we are now going to talk about, there are 3 episodes that took place in season 3 of the Clone Wars,
15
right?
to 17.
Yes. So yes, and they're about the father, the son, and the daughter.
Ironic that there's 3 episodes and 3 deities.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to talk about that, and we're going to explain to you why this is important, who they are, why they're important, and how they could play a role in the Ahsoka series. All right? Ready? So let's get it started. All right. So let's go back and talk about these 3 episodes. So it starts off with Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan. They are going to a distress call somewhere in deep space. We don't know, but there's a cry for help. They're going to find out what's going on. And then they realize that they're actually been summoned by some kind of powerful being and had no idea what's going on. And you see this white light as if they're in a dream, like what is going, is this happening? Is this for real? And they're taken in by this ship, whatever it is, this device in space, and they land on the planet. Now, I don't recall them ever mentioning the planet, the name of the planet, but it is Mortis, right? And Mortis it's a force planet. Like if when they got off their ship and they walked around, you see rocks levitating. It looks like the Garden of Eden. I mean, it's a beautiful landscape.
It's weird.
Yeah.
For a Garden of the Force, who are people who are very connected to life, there's no animals.
Well, right, and Ahsoka made note of that. She noticed that there were no animals, which is very interesting, right?
Yeah, that surprised me too.
Yeah, no animal life. So now when they're on this planet, they don't know what's going on, why they're there. Anakin hears a voice. Are you the one? Are you the one? Where's that voice coming from? It turns out that there is this woman that appears. She seems like she's almost as a force ghost. she's
But
glowing,
with colors.
but she's, she represents the light side of the Force, okay? And she is the daughter, and she doesn't have a name. We just call her the daughter. And come to realize that this planet is actually run by a family, right? Where the daughter represents the light side of the Force. The son, very evil, represents the dark side of the Force. And their father fits right in the middle. He is the one that's trying to bring a balance in the Force.
He's keeping the peace between these two children.
Exactly. So they are called the Force wielders. They're called the ones, but that's who they are. Okay. All right. So let me just talk about what their powers, their Force powers, what they can do. So again, the daughter, she's very light, very calm and peaceful. She's very powerful. She can easily, use a Force push to push you away. She can turn into it's kind of like a
Flying bird thingy.
flying bird, like some kind of bird creature. Actually, her brother has the same skill as well. That's something, as far as I know,
But
no
the
one else.
father does not.
Right. No one else who has the Force can do that, like turn into these winged creatures, but they can.
Kind of like an Avatar.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. And then the sun, again, represents darkness. I mean, we're going to talk about him a little bit more. He is pure evil. I mean, his sister said to Anakin, that's his nature. I mean, he is meant to be evil. He is meant to represent the dark side, and he exactly does. And we'll talk about him a little bit more. But right now, let's get into talking about the father, okay? The reason why he's brought Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka to the planet is that he has heard a rumor, through the grapevine, that Anakin may be the chosen one. So he's asking the question directly to Anakin, are you the chosen one? And Anakin has no idea how to answer that question. Well, what does that mean? Why? What does it matter? He wants Anakin to replace him as the person who can balance the Force. In other words, who can control his kids and also,
Anakin's
bring
the unpaid
balance.
babysitter.
Yeah, right. Be a babysitter to his son and daughter, and make sure to contain the balance, right? Because if you
got to contain the little rascals.
Right, you don't want to have more of one or the other. It has to be even out, okay?
Perfectly balanced. So all things should be.
Right. So what the father does, he gives
Thanos.
You call him Thanos?
I just said that's a quote from Thanos. Perfectly balanced as all things should be. That's Thanos.
Oh, okay. All right. I overlooked that. I didn't hear that. All right. That's a good one. That's a very good one. All right. Sorry about that. I stepped over that. Okay. All right. So getting back to the father. Okay. So he wants to put Anakin to the test to see if he really is the chosen one. Now, of course, the chosen one, if you don't know what that means, that is something that Qui-Gon Jinn has said about Anakin from the very beginning, back to the Phantom Menace, when he first met Anakin as a 9-year-old boy on Tatooine. He felt there was something special about this boy, like his midi-chloridian or midi, the midi count, the M count. Yeah, it's a word that
they retconned that
most people don't use anymore. But his count, his mid count was off the charts. Qui-Gon has never seen this before.
Yeah, Qui-Gon was absolutely shocked that his M count was so high. Like
exactly, yeah, like high, very high,
light.
Right.
That high.
So Qui-Gon has said from the very beginning that this is the chosen one. This is the boy, Anakin Skywalker, who is going to bring balance to the Force. Okay, so the father must have heard the same thing from Qui-Gon and wanted to test him. So what he did was he used, unfortunately, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, but sent his children after Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, and then pit them against each other, put Anakin in the middle, and have Anakin save
pick
the
which
life
one
of
he
one of them,
wants to
right?
survive.
Let's see how powerful you are. I want you to decide whose life you're going to save. Is it going to be your master or your Padawan?
And here's something I noticed. Obi-Wan instantly says, save Ahsoka. But Ahsoka says nothing.
I don't know if she said anything.
She
I
was
think she
kind
says
of
don't.
fighting with the bird, but she's like, don't listen, or something like that.
So your point is that Ahsoka didn't say, no, save your master.
Yeah.
It's like, no, not me. I'm not worthy. Save Obi-Wan. Yeah, well.
Yeah, because it's kind of like, this 15-year-old
Yeah.
is like, I don't want to die, man.
Well, right. I think she said was what she said to Anakin was, don't believe them. Don't do what they tell you to do or whatever. So, well, so what does Anakin do? He saves them both. I mean, he uses his power. I mean, he is. Go ahead.
It's like Spider-Man. Green Goblin grabbed a bus full of orphans and Mary Jane, and he's like, "You have to pick who lives or dies."
Good
And then
point.
Spider-Man's
Good
like,
point.
"Nah, I'll just save them both."
Yeah. Which one you choose? Same thing happened in The Dark Knight. There was a scene where Batman had to choose between saving a boat full of people or people in a corporate building. But yeah, this.
I would have picked the boat hundreds of times over.
Yeah,
corporate execs are like cutthroat.
It's so unfortunate that villains do that. They love to do that, like to put these heroes in the middle, and they offer them the choice to save one of their loved ones. Mm-hmm. Why would a hero put themselves in a situation to save one and not the other?
At least none of them
cruel.
At least none of them had that Spock mentality, like the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one.
Right.
They were all like, I'll save everyone.
Yeah. Why did they always have to make a choice? I just think that's just very...
It's like these villains, they know it's cliche, especially if you're all in the same universe.
Right.
You know how cliche it is.
Yeah. So this is what happens. So Anakin is in a position where he has to choose. All right. So we'll pick it up. We'll do some Q&A right now. So again, thank you so much for those who are here. Podcast of the Wills. Hey guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. All right. Thank you. All right. Alex is here. I wonder if Father, Son, and Daughter were inspired by the Holy Trinity. I've heard about how different Star Wars ideas were inspired by history and religion. That's a very good point. Every time I'm hearing Father, Son, I'm thinking the Spirit, but it's not the Spirit. It's Father, Son, and Daughter. But yeah, it could be some type of connection there with religion. Yeah, absolutely. All right. And we have in Batman had to choose between saving Harvey Dent. Yes, exactly. That's a very good point. Saving two of his loved ones. Ooh, that's such a great movie.
Can I be
honest? I know you haven't seen it, so I don't want to give away any spoilers, but that is a masterpiece of a film. The Dark Knight. All right. So go ahead. What are you going to say? Okay. All right. So
dang it.
Let's move on.
Like the Holy Trinity is George Lucas, Dave Filoni, and Jon Favreau.
Okay. All right. There you go.
That's the Holy Trinity.
There's the Holy Trinity. All right. We can come up with quite a few Holy Trinities. All right. So we'll keep going then. All right. So what does Anakin do? He saves them both. He uses his powers. I mean, he is really reeling in the son and the daughter, and he's got them to a point. He's reeling them. Right. Reeling them in. I mean, he really has control over them. He is Anakin so strong.
Is like,
he's strong in the Force. And he gets them to quiet down, and he tells them to kneel.
He's like the one babysitter that the kids don't like, but the parents love.
That's right.
Like,
exactly.
Kneel.
Right. You want someone who's going
no snacks before bedtime.
Exactly. You want them to take control of these kids when they get out of hand, and that's exactly what Anakin did. So they're able to let go of Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, so they're fine. All right. So Anakin passes the test, right? So I guess he must be the chosen one. But Anakin says, okay. Well, so the father says, all right, clearly you are the chosen one. So what I want you to do, I need you to replace me. I need you to be the one to bring balance to the Force. I am old. I'm getting weaker. I can't do it anymore. And you know what Anakin says? Anakin says, I'm out of here. I have no interest. I don't know what you're talking about.
Anakin just said bye.
Yes. And the three of them get back to their ship. And if you think that's over with, No, it's
No,
not that
because
easy. So
the son just leaps into their ship and kidnaps Ahsoka,
yes, right, yeah,
and he possesses Ahsoka.
yeah. Ooh, let's talk about the power of the sun. All right, this.
Same powers as the daughter, but like tuned to the dark side.
Oh, when I saw him, I listened to him speak, and I look at what he can do. Palpatine was such a student of the dark side, right? That he studied.
Honestly, Palpatine and the son
Yeah.
seem to have the same abilities.
Right, exactly, because
except Palpatine being marginally weaker. Because, the son is the embodiment of the dark side,
Yeah.
and Palpatine is a descendant of the dark side. So, that's by default, the son is stronger.
Yeah,
because
right.
he has the power of every dark side user channeled into him.
Yeah, and we don't know the age of this family, so I mean, they could have been right. Exactly, it could be immortal. They could have been around for thousands of years since the beginning of time.
You know what? They have to be at least 25,000 years old. You know why I say that? Because the Force was discovered 25,000 years ago.
Well, that's
There's
true.
supposed
According
to be a movie about that.
Yeah, right. We're gonna hear about the creation of the Force, or something like that. Who wielded the Force the first time? But apparently, this family has been around for a very long time. So, this is just second nature. So, just let's talk about some of the things that the son can do. So, he's got the Force lightning, just like Palpatine. Palpatine, like I said, he's a studier of the dark side. He is manipulative. He can get into your mind. So what he was doing with Anakin, actually with all three, is actually getting inside their head.
Obi-Wan's the only one who didn't get possessed.
Okay, all right. Let me go back and look at my notes. I thought Anakin also was actually impacted, but
Anakin and Ahsoka were the ones who got possessed. Obi-Wan was just kind of caught.
Okay. Now, Obi-Wan did see a vision of Qui-Gon Jinn. Was that, or was it Anakin?
That was Anakin.
Anakin. Okay. All right. Okay. So when Anakin, what the son was doing was trying to get inside his head, and he came in the form of Shmi Skywalker. If you know who Shmi Skywalker is, that's Anakin's mother. And we know what happened, the fate of Anakin's mom
at this time
in Attack of the Clones, right? So he appears in the form of his mother, and she's talking to him, trying to convince him to go with the son and learn that learn your true fate. And Anakin realized, well, this is you're not real, you're dead. All right, so that didn't work. So what he also did was he took the form, got into Ahsoka's head and took the form of an older Ahsoka. And apparently he's trying to convince her that your master is no good. He's not good for you. He doesn't care about you. You can do this on your own. You should leave him. So that's what she's saying.
The old Ahsoka looks exactly like the young Ahsoka, except with longer head tails.
Yeah, pretty much like how the Ahsoka looks in Rebels, right? Older Ahsoka.
Except with the red and yellow thingy.
Okay, all right.
Yes, my headphones.
No, that's okay. All right, okay. So let's keep going. And then, so what the son does to get Anakin's attention is kidnap Ahsoka. He kidnaps Ahsoka, and and look, and if you haven't seen this episode, it is very spooky. It is scary. It's almost like it's like a horror episode.
It wasn't scary.
Yeah. Well, depends on who's watching.
Comical to me.
Okay. All right. Well then.
At points,
I thought there was some scenes that are very.
Yeah, but there were some scary parts.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes. Right. There are some scary parts. So what he does is he appears as this animal and he bites her. He infects her with the dark side, and I couldn't believe it. All of a sudden now.
I thought that was kind of goofy.
Okay. All right. Well,
that's not how the dark side works. Emperor Palpatine can't just bite someone and be like, "You are now part of the dark side." That's not how. That's true.
Works. It's not how it works.
You know what? I'm gonna pull up that's not how time travel works. But for Star Wars, that's not how the Force works.
Well, okay.
You can't bite someone to give them the dark side.
But okay. But again, we don't know how long he's had these powers, so he is capable of doing much more than what we know about the dark side, right? So that's possible. So you're saying, you can't infect someone with the dark side. Okay, well maybe he can. All right, and he does. Okay, and he does with Ahsoka, and now she is this evil Ahsoka. Can you imagine an evil Ahsoka? And now she wants to battle Anakin, and she is really daring Anakin to take her down, take her out. And they got the lightsabers out, and Anakin and Ahsoka are battling each other.
And see,
Master and Padawan.
Anakin is defensive.
Yeah, right. He doesn't want to hurt her.
He doesn't actually attack. He waits for Ahsoka to attack and then blocks her attack.
Right. And then Obi-Wan jumps into the fight, and so now it's the three of them fighting each other, and the son is gleeful. Can you imagine? That
He's just
sounds
watching it.
He's just watching it, and doesn't that remind you of the Emperor watching
Vader
father and son, watching the two of them go at it to see who will prevail, and he's sitting back and he's laughing and he's eating his popcorn. I mean, that's exactly what this son was doing. He wanted them to just go after each other and probably kill each other. But then the father stepped in and said, no, I'm not having this. And he broke up the fight, and son got mad. And then he decided that he was going to take out his dad. Now, going back.
He failed.
Yeah, well, I want to step back. The daughter understood how powerful her brother is. And she did offer Obi-Wan some help. So they went to a temple to find a dagger, right? A blade, where they feel that what she says is whoever wields this blade can control the sun. So
how come there's not one of those relics for the daughter as well, though? Because their powers are just as destructive if used wrong. Granted, the dark side is more evil, but if they're the embodiments of each side of the Force, then shouldn't there be a relic to destroy each of them?
That's a very good point. That's a good question. I don't have an answer.
How come there's one for the sun and not
there's one to
for
destroy the sun, but nothing to tame or control or destroy the daughter?
The father doesn't need one because he's neutral. He's the one who's keeping the balance. But
I don't know. I can understand. You don't want to be too good. You don't always want to do the right thing. It's boring. It's not. It's not truthful. Nobody's perfect.
I get that
you don't really want to kill a person for doing all good things, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that. I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen. I just feel like if it's perfectly balanced, if there's a relic to destroy one, there should be a relic to destroy both.
Okay. All right, that's fair enough.
I'm not saying that they're ever going to use it on the light side because somebody did something too good. I'm just saying it makes sense for it to be balanced.
I hear you.
Because the sun could have used that. I mean.
Okay. No, I hear you. I get it. I agree with it. So now Obi-Wan has this dagger, and he is holding the dagger. He wants to give it to Anakin. Ahsoka swoops in and grabs the dagger and gives it to the son. And the son now has a dagger. And you know what he does to reward Ahsoka for giving him the dagger? He kills her. Just takes her out. Yeah. I forgot to say, this is a spoiler review, right? So hopefully you've seen these episodes, or you don't mind us spoiling it. But Ahsoka is gone. She's out. All right. So now the father comes in, breaks everything up. He's angry with his son. The son is angry with the dad, and he is ready to take that dagger and to stick it to his father. But then the daughter, his own sister, comes in and puts herself right in the middle, and she shields her father from the blade, and she takes the blade herself. Yeah. And she is fallen. Brother's distraught, oh my God, I can't believe what I did to my sister. Apparently the only person he really cares about is his sister. He never want to harm his sister.
I find it funny that you're willing to go to such extreme lengths to get rid of your father, but the moment that your sister gets hurt, you're like, ah! Like I feel like you should have thought of that, because if you know your sister, she's gonna protect her father. I
Sure.
mean,
Sure. Yeah. Right. I think
and the son's reaction was so over. He was like,
over the top.
ah, why? And then ran off.
Yeah, he was not happy. He was not happy.
I'm pretty sure the mic's clipped just now.
Yes, we got to make sure not to clip the mic. Okay, Q&A. All right. We have Alex. Wow, Ahsoka had so many deaths. In quotation marks. First, here the son. Later on in Rebels, though I know the latter wasn't exactly a death. I get it.
I don't know what that was.
We don't know. I think they just left it vague.
It really doesn't make sense, because I don't know how the world between worlds work.
Exactly.
Like, if it works like time travel, if they bring Ahsoka from the past to the present, and there's a present Ahsoka who's also living in that timeline, that means there's two Ahsokas.
True.
So for this to work, Anakin would have had to have defeated her.
Yeah. Time travel.
But I find it amazing that Anakin would do that to his own Padawan, and he knew that was his Padawan.
It's telling a good time travel story is so difficult. Extremely difficult. Yeah. So
Endgame didn't make it complicated.
No, they didn't. They didn't. But like I said, it's very rare that you can tell a
Flash,
good.
actually, like the Arrowverse Flash.
Yeah.
Because the way time travel works there is, I'm going to do this without spoilers.
Yeah. We're going to want to go too far out of our conversation here, but go ahead.
If an event is changed in that timeline, all events following that event will also be changed. Like, if you have pasta at a restaurant that day and you go back in time and you get rid of the pasta, then you won't get pasta. At that version of you won't get pasta. You'll get something else, like a hamburger. And then you'll end up feeling full afterwards, which sets up more chains of events. Because, like, maybe you forget to take out the trash, and then the trash sits there, and your parents get upset with you.
Right. Yeah. No, that makes sense to me.
So, yeah, that's how time works.
Sense. Okay.
However, if you get the pasta, you don't feel full. You remember to take out the trash, and you get to watch some TV.
I see. Okay. That makes perfect sense to me. Okay. All right, so I mean, we could do another episode about how time travel works, when it works, what happens when it doesn't work, But it's
the world between worlds was so complicated. Like, I'm getting a migraine thinking about this.
And a funny thing you mentioned that, because we're going to try to tackle that next.
What are we, Matt Pat?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the world between worlds. All right, so let's get through this episode. All right, let's get through these 3 episodes. All right, so Ahsoka's gone. The daughter is, near death. So what happens? Anakin is asking the father for help. Save Ahsoka, save my Padawan. Is there anything we could do for her? And they decide, okay, well, we're going to take what's left. Any life left.
The life force of the daughter, which she agreed to save Ahsoka.
Right.
So that Ahsoka could live.
Exactly. So the life left in the daughter was now given to Ahsoka. Ahsoka is resurrected. She's back. And the daughter is gone. Right? She's one with the Force.
Yeah, okay. See.
Something you don't like about that?
No, it's just that, like, each of these characters end up subsequently getting rid of each other.
Uh-huh.
Like, the son gets rid of the daughter, and then the father gets rid of the son. Virtually, of course, he weakens the son. And then the son ends up coercing his father. So, like...
Okay. Do you have something you want to say about that? Or
no.
Okay, all right.
Jumping forward a bit.
Uh-huh.
Did Anakin really have to do the son like that?
Well, okay, we didn't get...
He was going to die anyway. I mean,
that
was unnecessary.
Well, we'll get there. All right, that's up next. Okay, so now, father is burying his daughter, burying her with the blade, the same blade that was used to, unfortunately, to end her life. Puts her in a tomb, locks the tomb, Okay, and now
and does not do a very good job. And also, the crypt is literally above ground. You can just walk in.
yeah, well that's true.
That's not how gravestones work.
Well, some crypts do. Like some people are not buried in the ground; they're in a tomb. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but usually that's underground in ancient Egyptian periods. Indiana Jones and Midnight taught me a lot.
I see. Okay. All right. I got it. All right. So now, Anakin wants to talk to the son. That's it. He says, okay, something's got to go down. We got to do something with the son. So Anakin personally meets the son in a place that looks very, very similar to Mustafar. All right. Exactly. So it's a tunnel, and they're just going down, down, down. You would expect with fire. You're going down, down, down. The symbolism of going all the way down to this place of fire and brimstone. This is where darkness lies. I mean,
like brimstone.
This is darkness right there. That's the fire.
Well, in Minecraft, it's called blackstone in Minecraft. Mm-hmm. It's a very good building material. If you combine it with deep slate bricks, there it is. You've hit the perfect gradient.
Okay. All right.
Throw in maybe a little bit of polished basalt.
Okay. All right, let's keep moving. All right, so now Anakin, he thinks that he's going to talk the son into. So what the son wants to do now, he actually wants to leave Mortis so that he can spread darkness all over the galaxy.
So he decided to be political and spread his message across the galaxy and become the one supreme tyrant.
Right. So he wants to take over their ship, Anakin's ship, so he can get on and then he can go anywhere he wants and just spread evil. Right? Well, Anakin says, no, that's not going to happen. But the son is so powerful that he actually was able to transform. Well, what he did was he was
showed
able
Anakin
to show
memories of his future.
He showed Anakin his future, and that scared Anakin. Right? Anakin saw Palpatine as the Emperor. He saw Padme screaming in pain.
Yeah, he saw Obi-Wan.
Yes, I love you like
a youngling.
Yes, you're my brother, Anakin. The same thing that he said to him at Mustafar in Revenge of the Sith.
And then he's like, then the shadow of Darth Vader
and the breathing. So he saw everything that took place. He saw it. So now he's possessed, right? So now he wants to do evil. He's working with the son. The father once again has to step in, and what he does is he helps Anakin remove all of what he's seen of the future.
Unwillingly, of course.
Yes. He just says, don't worry about the future because you can change the future.
Bibbidi bobbidi boo.
Right.
Get rid of these memories.
That's right. So those memories that you saw, they don't exist. It didn't happen. Okay?
And you know what else? The father, in the funniest way possible, he reminds Anakin that there were memories that he willingly made Anakin forget. One of the things that happens in The Flash is one of the characters remembers something that happens to them in an alternate universe or in an alternate timeline of that same universe. So,
what happens?
Imagine if Anakin had memories of his memories of memories.
So what would that mean? So if Anakin did see his future, what do you think? How would that impact him in the present?
I don't know. He might have seen it again, and he might have been like, "Oop."
Well, if it was me, if I saw my future and I didn't like what I saw, me in the present would probably try to find a way to fix it so that it doesn't happen, right?
See, I would. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If I see my future and my future looks awful, I would not then want to make my future worse by joining the villain.
I get it. That's a very good point. Right. So why did that happen? Excellent point.
Because plot development.
Okay.
Next slide.
All right, Q&A. Let's go back to Q&A. So you're saying that that was overlooked by the writers. Maybe they didn't.
No, I just think that's not the logical reaction Anakin would have had. Anakin would have figured out a way to get out of there instead of just being like, "Will we make peace?" and then joining his side. Like,
I got you. Okay. All right.
he wasn't even weakened. He was just like,
Okay.
yeah, sure.
All right. Do you want to read Alex?
Like this was a typical Monday. All right, Alex. Wow, it definitely seems like there are a lot of biblical inspirations with the tomb and descent into fire and brimstone.
Yes, I did see that. I absolutely did see
I like
that.
fire.
You said that already. All right. So
I said I liked brimstone.
Okay. All right. Fire and brimstone. Same thing. All
I
right.
like them both.
Great comparison with the Flash, Keith. Is solid analogy. All right. Very good.
Have you seen it? And please don't give me spoilers. I'm on the second
Alex,
episode.
so let us know if you're a
season 2.
fan of the Flash series.
And which one?
What do you mean by which one?
Which Flash?
All right, we're not comparing Flash. Will you leave Ezra Miller?
Grant Gustin Solos.
Okay, just leave Ezra
Change
Miller
my mind.
Okay, all right. Now back to what we were talking about. We're talking about Star Wars, right? You find a way to bring up the Flash.
Because the Flash is good. The Arrowverse Flash is good.
Yes, okay, all right. So Father steps in and wipes Anakin's memory of the future because he doesn't want that to be a hindrance. Although you did make a good point, like maybe if Anakin remembered his future, maybe he would have been able to change going to where he went.
The father kind of messed himself up in that sense because it's like, if I knew that I was going to become evil and hurt everyone I cared about, I would have been like, listen, I can't do that.
Right. Yeah. And now that I'm thinking about
That's
it more.
That's a good what if. What if the father had some logic? It's like that smartest man alive gives away the only advantage the heroes have in this fight type story.
Yeah. It's starting to make sense to me now what you're saying. So if the father could have just said, okay, well, you're right. If Anakin saw his future and it looked that dark, why would you want to join someone who is going to continue on that path, right?
And even if he did,
yeah,
why would you want to wipe his memory? It'd be even more helpful for him to remember
to know what he could
because
become.
Then if he remembers what he was destined to become, then he would understand what he needs to do to not become that.
But let me throw something else out there. Maybe it's not meant for people to know what's going to happen in the future. All right. Because if we know what's going to happen to us 5-10 years from now, and it's not good, we're going to be paralyzed right now to say, oh my, what am I going to do? I can't, what's going to happen in 5 years? I got to do something to prevent that from happening. And you're consumed about about something that hasn't even taken place yet, rather than living in the moment.
If you know something that's going to happen in 5 years, if it's catastrophic, you can prevent it. Like
maybe
if
not.
If you know, say, on a certain road, there's going to be a red light and your car is going to get stopped for 2 hours in traffic, you would be able to avoid that road. I feel like seeing in the future would help you make better life decisions. Because if you can see 5 years into the future, you'd live a better life. Because you know exactly what you need to do to lead up to the right events. It's like this looped short that I saw.
Yeah.
So basically this guy, or a Family Guy actually.
Okay.
So Stewie and Brian travel 30 seconds into the future and then they get ambushed by the past versions of Stewie and Brian. And then those Stewies and Brians, they're like, well, I guess we should hide now. And they hide behind a bush for the next Stewie and Brian to come out, and the same thing happens.
Okay, that's very interesting. I think that's a question for the audience. So would you want to know your future? No, I get it. You have a very good point. Yeah, like
they knew exactly what they needed to do to lead up to the next loop of events to happen.
I get it. And I guess some people, well, it's a matter of choice. Some people would maybe want to know what's going to happen in the future, and some people don't want to know.
I would too.
Yeah.
I'd be like Dr. Strange.
So let us know what you think. Would you want to know your future? Or would you not want to know what's going to happen?
I am Nakamoto.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to Q&A. We have Q&A. So Alex said yes, he's seen the second season of The Flash, and yes, I like Grant Gustin Flash and the DC.
You're on the second last season of Flash.
No, I think he said he's on the second season, right?
He said second last season.
Okay, all right. Dallas, thank you so much. The Mortis story arc is like a movie, and it's one of my favorite episodes. It is. It's compelling. it feels mythical and mysterious and something out of Greek mythology. Um, yeah, and it seems perfect for Star Wars. It's Star Wars storytelling. It's not, you know what I mean. It really fits into the core of Star Wars being this fantasy. Even the part where we're talking about how the daughter and the son can just change into these winged creatures. We haven't seen that in live action, but at some point we will, you know. But I mean, that to me is kind of like a Game of Thrones type thing, with dragons. But can you see that in live action in Star Wars one day? Yeah, I think we can. Yeah. All right. Okay. So so we have some. But what if we're avoiding one decision leads to a worse outcome? The butterfly effect can be unpredictable. Very interesting. Avoiding one decision leads to a worse outcome. Interesting. You get that? What do you think?
You know how they say life finds a way? I think Martin Stein explained this actually. Like, if you change one event,
Mm-hmm.
maybe time will replace that event. It'll solve for that event in another way. Dr. Harrison Wells said the same thing. I'm just going to go the flash. You know what?
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
going to pull up another relevant reference. Marvel.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange, what if episode 4, what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands?
That's a good one.
Because every time he kept trying to save Christine, something happened to her in some way or another. Like, even if he avoided the road he crashed on, he would crash on another road.
Excellent
Or
point.
if he decided to walk, she would have a heart attack. Or somebody would rob the building. Like, it doesn't matter what he did, it was a fixed point in time.
Right.
To
That
the point where Doctor Strange then spiraled and destroyed his universe.
that is an excellent point. That's
Reminds me of Miguel O'Hara, actually. He did the same thing.
okay.
Like, in his world, he decided to step in to raise his daughter, but he ended up destroying the entire world in the process.
And in the Flash movie, right? Didn't the same thing
Don't get
happen
me
to the
started.
second Flash? Okay, we're not going to talk about the Flash. All right, anyway. But
That
no,
movie
you
was
have an
awesome.
excellent point about that Doctor Strange episode. Like, no matter how you think you can control the outcome of
can't.
something or someone, you can't, because it's destined to happen. No matter how many times you try. And it was such a sad thing to see, this loved one that, Strange tried and tried and tried to keep this person alive, and something just happens where she's not meant to be here on Earth, So
And then the next episode, we got mindless zombies and everything went back to gore.
Yeah.
See, the issue with Marvel Zombies is the tone is off, and these zombies are like Walking Dead, Zombieland type zombies. Like the brainless ones who go.
Yeah, those are the classic zombies.
Like, because in the comics, the zombies are less of an infection
Mhm.
and more of a virus.
Okay.
Like, because in the comics, all the characters, they keep their intellect, but they're zombies. Like, they can't control themselves.
Mhm. How does this tie into time travel?
It
doesn't.
doesn't.
Okay, all right.
We'll talk more later.
Yeah, we'll talk more later. Okay.
Off the air.
So let's finish up this story arc. Okay. All right. So once again, we said that the father wipes away Anakin's memory of the future, and now he's focused on what he needs to do to defeat the son. All right. So they set him up. They set up the son. Okay. Now it's father. He has to come down to father and son. Another example of a father and son story. Okay.
We're not crazy, though.
not that kind of father and son story, but a father and son story where they're confronting each other, and they have to decide, okay, how this is going to go down. Are we both going to survive it, or is one of us going to lose their life? Okay. And it turns out that is the case. So the father had to, unfortunately, take out his son. All right. Now we forgot
and himself in the process.
Well, right. We forgot the part about the blade, because the blade is very important. So
the son retrieves the blade from the daughter's crypt.
Went into the crypt. Okay. All right.
That was disrespectful.
Very disrespectful of.
You don't disturb the dead.
Exactly. So what he did, he went in and took the blade away from the daughter, and closed up the tomb. So now
What's the purpose of that?
I think the blade is symbolism of power. I don't
You know what I'm now realizing?
What are you realizing?
Maybe the blade doesn't just affect the son. Maybe it affects all of them. Because it affected the father. Maybe it affects the... Well, it also affected the daughter. I mean...
Well, yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know. Well, it's supposed to control the son, but in either
no
case,
one
whenever
really ever used it
well,
on the
right,
son.
whenever they try to use it against the son, it didn't work. Somebody else ends up dying, and not the son.
I find it ironic that every time they try to use his blade on the son, somebody else dies to the same blade, and it never touches the son.
It never touches the son, right? So now the same thing happens. The father is really at his wits. He can't take it anymore. So he has to make sure that his son is destroyed. And what he does is he sacrifices his own life, right? He takes the blade.
Yep.
Right? You see this like in, it's like Shakespeare, you see these, major characters, doing the ultimate sacrifice. And he takes a blade and he
See, that's why I don't like Shakespeare.
Well, have you read enough Shakespeare?
Yes.
All right. So he is gone. He is wounded.
Grab blade.
Mortally wounded.
Insert blade.
Yes. Well, hey. And then son.
Literally the
which
end
is
of every
surprising.
Shakespeare
I mean, were you surprised with the son's reaction to his father?
Yeah.
He wanted his father dead. And all of a sudden now the father takes his own life. He's crying like a baby.
Yeah, for the past 2 episodes, the son's entire mission was to kill the father.
Right.
He's like, I hate you! Yeah. Which is funny because that's the line Anakin used on Obi-Wan.
Exactly.
And he's been trying to kill his father the entire time, but once the father takes his own life, he's like, no, I don't want you to die.
Right.
And you know what else? You know what he says? He says, please don't die.
Yeah.
Then Anakin stabs him in the back.
Well, if you put it that way, okay, yeah, it's yes.
He did
Anakin
it
comes
dirty.
around. It's a sneak attack.
That wasn't necessary. The son was gonna die anyway because he lost his power from the father.
Well,
he was the one keeping the balance. I mean, that was unnecessary. That was uncalled for.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying. I understand. Maybe you thought Anakin might have taken it too far.
I'm like, Anakin, yo.
Right.
Then again, this is the same man who in like 2 years, slashes up a room full of children. So honestly, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
And not surprised.
Well, there was a scene, we didn't talk about it.
Anakin's problematic.
Qui-Gon appeared, right? Liam Neeson, the voice of Liam Neeson. And Qui-Gon is talking to Anakin. And Anakin asks the question, what should I do with the son? Should I kill him? Or should I keep him alive? What should I do? And Qui-Gon says, well, you do neither. You find another solution. All right?
Yeah. See,
and his solution was to kill the son.
That's the issue with these Force ghosts.
Yeah.
I mean, can these people literally not understand the meaning of a concise and precise answer? Like, instead of giving us vague little tidbits of what we're trying to get
what you need them to do.
You're literally a ghost. You have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like anybody's going to come after you.
Yeah.
Just be like, listen, Anakin, you got to get rid of the son, all right? And maybe the father in the process, you don't get rid of him yourself. He's going to do that for you, all right? Just do it. Instead of being like, choose what your heart desires.
Yes. Do what your heart tells you to do. Type of thing.
I kid you not. No, that's like the most overused
tell me
line.
what to do. I'm asking. That's why I'm asking.
That's why I would never rely on a Force ghost.
Well,
because they beat around the bush. Just tell me.
Not all of them.
You literally have nothing to lose.
Well, I'll tell you something. I think Obi-Wan was actually, he never missed words. He told Luke straight out,
he told Luke his father was dead, though.
Well, I'm not, okay. But when he finds out that Vader's his father and they're on Dagobah, what does Obi-Wan say? You must face Darth Vader again. So you know what that means. You have to face him again. Now, did he say, now you have to kill him?
No,
not necessarily, but he knew. But Luke knew what that meant. You had to face him, right? You have to do something. Okay. Anyway, so I agree with you.
Force Ghost plus Yoda equals philosophical.
Yeah.
Like,
Right. Yes.
you gotta be kidding. That combo is just Yoda was already vague.
Yeah, he is, and still vague. He still is. Yeah.
And then you make him a Force ghost, he's still vague. I mean, he showed up in The Last Jedi to just torch a building and be like,
Okay.
that
And-
little goblin laugh and go away. Yoda never laughed like that. I don't know what they did to his laugh in The Last Jedi, but it didn't sound right.
Now we're at The Last Jedi. We're going to come right back to the Clone Wars. Here we go. So I want to talk about this. The final scene. Next to the final scene, the father says something that was very interesting. So I wrote it down. And he says to Anakin, "You are the chosen one. You have brought balance to the world. Stay on this path and you will do it again for the galaxy. But beware your heart."
Yeah, that went straight to Anakin's head,
Beware
2
your
years
heart.
later, he really held that message near and dear.
Yeah.
After he, fought Obi-Wan, destroyed the Jedi Temple, executed Order 66.
Yeah. But even if you go beyond that, talk about his heart. Who had his heart? His
The
wife.
robots.
No. His heart. Padme. He loved Padme, and he was always concerned about her in pain, right? He felt that, okay, well, something's going to happen to Padme. I don't want anything to happen. What can I do to save her? Remember, he went to Palpatine and, tried to get some advice from Palpatine, went to the wrong person and said, well, if you, hung out with the Sith, you'd be able to save your wife.
It's funny.
And,
he
that
couldn't
was a
save
lie.
his wife after Mustafar because he had no legs and had one arm.
Yeah.
And he was the Burning Man.
Okay. All right. So
he was passing the torch.
So now, why did we want to spend an episode talking about the father, the son, and the daughter? Okay. If you recall, now this is a spoiler. In Lothal, there is a mural, right? If you go back to Star Wars Rebels, there's a mural of the father, the son, the daughter. What that mural represents is it's actually a doorway that if you can unlock it, it leads you to the world between worlds, right? And we know, I'm not talking to you directly, I'm talking to everyone else, but we know that the world between worlds is very important, all right, for Ahsoka and for Ezra, and we will talk about that in our next episode. We are going to cover whether Keith likes it or not, because it's a very difficult topic to talk about. I mean, and again, we were just talking about time travel. I know you're not a big fan because, again, some people get time travel right, some people don't. Some storytellers do get it right, some don't. So
see, the only
I think there's some controversy between how the world between worlds. Excuse me. Sorry. How the world.
That was close.
How the world between worlds was handled. Some fans like it, some fans don't.
Here's
but we're going to talk about
it. With Endgame style time travel. There was literally no need to make it
excuse me,
a double or nothing kind of situation. Like, it's not like you had one shot for this, because if you're gonna go back in time, you could go back and grab Pym particles to bring back with you to current time.
What's your point?
I think at some point Ant-Man said that they only had a limited reserve of Pym particles.
Yes.
So they could only do this once.
Yes.
Why didn't they go back in time, grab more Pym particles, and then save all the heroes who passed away? Or they could just go grab Black Widow before the time heist. They could grab Gamora from right before the Soul Stone, Vision, Quicksilver. They could just grab all the characters who we lost and then bring them back because it wasn't difficult.
Okay.
If Captain America had enough time to go back in time for 70 years and somehow didn't mess up the canon, I mean,
we're going to talk about
it. Makes no sense that he's an old man by 2023 and he somehow still fought in the Endgame fight.
All right. Well, this is new to me.
Yeah,
You're
because
going
you
somewhere
think about it,
we've never
the
talked
issue
about
with
before.
that.
Okay.
You know how Captain America went back to return the stones and he went to
Yes.
go live his life with Peggy until 2016?
I remember that. Yeah.
So if he's an old man by 2023, how did he participate in any of the fights from 2011 up to 2023? How was that possible if the man was 120 and looked it?
Well, did he change time when he went back to put the stones back?
Exactly. That's the issue.
Well, that's the answer, right?
So if you were to go and save other characters, it wouldn't impact the multiverse in the way that it did in the way that it would with Endgame time. Like,
okay,
if you were to go save, Black Widow, Gamora, Vision, and Quicksilver and stuff, and Phil Coulson,
all right,
you could bring them all back to present time, and it would be inconsequential because all the events would still happen, and at least then we could get a Gamora who wasn't rude to literally everybody except for the last 20 minutes.
Okay.
And we could get a Scarlet Witch who didn't resolve her character arc and then literally go back to being a villain 10 seconds later.
We're talking about Marvel.
Whatsoever.
We're talking about Marvel. Okay. We're going to stay on Star Wars, right? And we're going to talk about the world between worlds next time. All right. Let's do it because it's very interesting. We're going to rewatch
maybe Yelena wouldn't be set after Hawkeye.
Okay. We'll rewatch the episodes and then we will discuss. All right, so that's what's coming up. Announcements. So once again, we still have Thrawn. We're going to get to Thrawn, talk about his rise in the Empire. We want to thank our patrons, John and Broaxium. Thank you so much. We will be on the podcast stage. We're leaving again. We're leaving town. We're going to Chicago.
Wish us luck.
Yeah, okay. We're going to Chicago. So we'll be there for the weekend. So check our socials and we'll keep you posted with any pictures, any updates, any celebrity sightings. We'll let you know who's there. So that's going to be exciting. All right. Race to 1,000. We are literally at 970 subscribers. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Okay. We
530 people. It's not difficult.
We were hoping that we would.
We need 30 more people to subscribe. We need you to just find the 30 people. Just find the 30 people.
Yeah. Why is it so difficult to get to 1,000? I don't know. But anyway, so this is drawn out.
We need all 30 people
to
subscribe to our channel.
30 people. Okay. All right. So
just get them all to subscribe. It's not difficult. It's not hard.
All right, new episodes.
Did anyone get that?
No, I hope not. No new episodes coming soon with Storytime with Maceo. We got a Lego build that we've done, and we're going to put that up there very soon. Redemption of Jar Jar Binks is available wherever you get your podcasts. It's a very good series, 6-part series by Dylan Marin. Check it out. I think that's it. Have we missed anything?
Yep. Subscribe to our channel.
Yes.
We need the votes.
Yes.
We need the subscribers. Subscribe to our channel. Find 30 people. Find them. Get them to subscribe.
Okay. Let's see if we have any final comments before we go. And as we're pulling them up, Keith, where can people find us? Thank you, Alex. Have fun in Chicago. Do you plan to do some sightseeing? We hope so.
Sure.
We have one day, actually. So like I said, the expo is 4 days. But we do have one day that's free. So we're going to leave that day open. We know a couple of people that actually live in Chicago. We hope to visit them and maybe get in some sightseeing. So, we'll keep you posted on that. Time for Keith to go to the world between worlds or the quantum realm to travel through time to get 30 people to subscribe.
Let me suit up.
How about that? There you go.
Wait. I'll just do it this way. I'll just do it that way.
Yeah, just use the finger. Yeah, the finger.
The finger.
Just snap. Yeah. All right.
I hope you meant snap and not
that's what I
people
meant.
off, Dad.
Okay. So where can people find us?
All right, time to snap, by the way.
Okay.
I'm going to snap right after this show.
Where can people find us?
So you can find us wherever you get your podcasts. Our socials are Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Fathers of the Galaxy. Website, fathersofthegalaxy.com. Check out our merch store, fathersofthegalaxy.myspreadshirt.com. Join our Patreon page and please donate at patreon.com/fathersofthegalaxy. Check out our YouTube channel, which is where you're watching us right now. That's it.
All right. This was fun, everyone. This was a tough subject, but next week's going to be even tougher. Well, then next week, hopefully next week, we'll get the War Between Worlds under our belt. All right. So thank you, everyone. Thank you. We appreciate this. We love doing this. So we love having you on the live stream. And if you can't make the live stream, just listen to us whenever you can. All right. And leave your comments. We love the comments. I've fallen behind on responding to the comments, but I will catch up. Okay. So until next time, take care. We will see you in Chicago.